So if you love small town charm with a big personality, then Scott County's definitely got you covered.
Home to the birthplace of bourbon.
I'm from here, born and raised. It's a dream come true every day to run a business in my hometown, to see people that I grew up with, to see people that were my parents' friends.
A place where you'll find the serene and a sprawling city scene.
All I can say is come visit because a smile awaits them here.
Welcome to our spotlight on Scott County. Good evening, I'm Lauren Miner.
And I'm Megan Mannering. Thank you so much for joining us as we showcase some of the best things that Scott County has to offer. Located just north of Lexington, Scott County is home to the towns of Stamping Ground and Sadieville, as well as the county seat, Georgetown. Way back in 1972, Scott County became one of the first two counties created by the newly formed Kentucky legislature.
Centuries later, it is now one of the fastest growing counties in Kentucky. It's home to the largest Toyota manufacturing plant in the world and also the first Baptist college west of the Allegheny Mountains, a school that is now called Georgetown College. It was founded by Elijah Craig, who made his very first barreled bourbon on the banks of Royal Springs in downtown Georgetown. And Scott County is also home to one of the most popular beer brands here in the Bluegrass and beyond.
That's true. It's where we're sitting right now. Welcome to Country Boy Brewing, a labor of love born and brewed by 4 Kentucky natives.
Long story short, I ended up, because of the sister city relationship between Georgetown, Scott County, and Tahara, Japan, due to the Toyota factory here in town, I ended up teaching English in Japan for 3 years with one of my now partners, Nathan Coppage. And it was in Japan that we really got bit by the craft beer bug from a gentleman there who had a craft brewery. His name is Brian Baird Beer. And from there, he kind of inspired us to get more into craft beer, to come back to Kentucky.
And with that, Country Boy Brewing came to life. It started 13 years ago in Lexington. And just last week, the Georgetown Brewery celebrated its 8th anniversary. I got the chance to walk through the facility to learn more about how they make the magic.
So our Country Boy Tap Room is in Georgetown is a great place because this is actually the first purpose-built brewery in the state of Kentucky. So every other brewery has either squeezed into a existing building and they've made it work for themselves. We wanted a fresh start when we came to Georgetown. So we built this from the dirt up, and it is built specifically to be a brewery. So everything in this facility flows in terms of how beer is made. So from the brewing process to fermentation to packaging to shipping and receiving, it all flows in a perfect circle there.
How long does it take start to finish?
So from start to finish, including fermentation, you're looking at about 2 weeks for an ale or 6 to 8 weeks for a lager. So it really just depends on what style you're brewing. In a day, we can do up to 3 brews a day. So we'll actually brew 3 times a day, and it takes about a 2 to 3 hour process. And then we'll fill up one of those tanks. So this is 50 barrels at a time that we're making. And then those tanks over there are 150 and 200 barrels at a time.
That's a lot of beer.
It's a lot of beer.
What do you love about working here?
I think to answer that question a little bit better, it's like, what do I not love about working here? I love cooking. I love science. I love fermentation. This is an industry that allows me to do a little bit of everything.
What started as a small dream, now a booming business. 2 years ago, Country Boy opened a downtown tap room in Louisville, and they have even more projects on the horizon.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about it yet, but there's a small butcher shop. And when I mean small, I mean very, very small. But it was an institution in northern Scott County, Sadieville, since I've been born. We could do something with this building that deserves to be an icon of northern Scott County. So very small distillery. We'll stay in the alcohol world, right, adjacent to craft beer. There'll be a craft distillery there. They'll also feature our craft beers, northern Scott County.
And in a world that immediately thinks of bourbon when you say Kentucky, Country Boy is helping to put the Bluegrass on the map in a different way.
We think craft beer and the great beer that's made here in Kentucky goes right along with the bourbon story. The water that makes great bourbon makes great craft beer. And the beer that's made here in not only Central Kentucky, in Scott County and Georgetown, but it's statewide, is world class.
After 13 years of work that's helped establish Country Boy in the Bluegrass and beyond, Harrison says he's thankful.
We owe everything in the 13 years to the hard-working people that are here at the brewery that work with us every day, and to the community that drinks our beer. We can brew all the greatest beer in the world, but without people to buy it and drink it and to shout it from the rooftops of how great this beer is, it'd go down the drain, right?
Yeah, you're talking about good beer, great atmosphere, a place to take your family. Even you can bring your dog here, which is really cool.
Your dog, your kids, you get some great beer. And I love that this was born out of this labor of love from Kentuckians. So it's kind of putting the bluegrass on the map from the beer standpoint.
Exactly. So we have the Shotgun Wedding, Cougar Bay. There we go.
And this is our first beer
yeah,
today. So.
It really is. Even though we've been sitting in this brewery for quite some time, it's been so much fun. These are two of their most popular beers.
Best sellers.
Exactly. We're sitting inside. They have a great outside, even though a little chilly today out there.
It definitely is. Well, before we segue into our next story, Lauren, should
we
we
do a little cheers?
Cheers to Scott County.
Yes, I love it. Oh, I like that.
There you go.
That
Like
was
you
good.
said, it's not really giving spring outside, but there is a budding business along the bypass of Georgetown that is inspiring thoughts of warmer days ahead.
Yeah, so I got to check out Lavender in Bloom, and you get to not only pick your flowers, but also arrange them. Okay, we're sitting on this beautiful property. Obviously, tulips not in bloom right now. It's still beautiful behind us. Talk to me first just about how this adventure got started for you and your husband.
About 10 years ago, we were on vacation in Washington State and went to Squim Valley and saw all the lavender farms out there and really fell in love with lavender. We hadn't known much about it at all before and thought, well, that's really pretty cool. Maybe when we retire, we'll do something like that. And then we realized that might be a long way down the road, so we decided to do it sooner than later. It just kind of snowballed from there.
So 2018 is when you guys opened,
Yes.
and you guys are doing now a lot of different things than when you first started. So kind of walk me through those.
Yeah, we have April is our tulips. They'll usually start to bloom around April 1st for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then in May, we have peonies that we make bundles for Mother's Day. June, most of June and part of July is when the lavender blooms. And then in the fall, sometimes we do sunflowers and pumpkins. So you pick for that too. We have classes during the season too. We have painting classes, craft classes. We make wreaths, and sometimes we do bath bombs and different things. And then 2 years ago, we started doing our outdoor night market where we have art vendors, people that actually make stuff to sell.
Yeah. What's the future look like? Do you know?
We never know. This year, we're definitely doing the market. We are doing a kids class, a painting class, and an outdoor class. We call it Art in Bloom, and we kind of teach them about the outdoors, and you can do a lot with lavender, and most people are really intrigued when they come out and learn what all you can do.
What are some of those things? Because I'm honestly not that familiar. I mean, I know a couple things, but
Yeah, so you've probably heard of lavender in a bath soap, but certain varieties of lavender are really good for gourmet cooking. My husband makes wonderful lavender lemonade, which is a big hit, and lavender ice cream. We have people coming out in April and want lavender ice cream.
So if people want more information, where's the best place for them to go?
Lavenderinbloom.farm is our website, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have all the channels.
Okay. Awesome.
Love that story and definitely worth the visit.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, even with it blanketed in snow, it was gorgeous out there. So you can only imagine what it would be like when it gets a little bit warmer. Great place to go with your friends. They even do events, as I mentioned in the story there, throughout the month. So many things to do. Make sure you check it out because it's going to be beautiful, especially when those tulips bloom.
Definitely on the bucket list. It's one of the finest Greek revival style mansions in the United States, and you can find it right here in Scott County.
Yeah, so Ward Hall sits along Frankfort Road in Georgetown. We got to take a tour of the architectural masterpiece and meet one of the most interesting minds in Kentucky history.
You're watching LEX 18, part of the Scripps News Group.
Well, there are so many things that make Scott County extremely special. We're sitting inside of one of them, Country Boy Brewing.
With some very special people. We have Lori Saunders and Bailey Gilkerson with Georgetown Scott County Tourism. Lori, let's start with you because you're the executive director. You've been with the area for a long time now. How have you seen Scott County grow, and is it easier now for people to come visit than it was in the past?
Well, you're right. Scott County is booming. You know, we have had so many new things pop up. You know, while we may be the fastest growing county and city in the state, we have managed to keep our small town charm, and that has been very important to all of us in this community.
Yeah, and speaking of small town, people want to come here and they want to check out the things that maybe aren't posted all over the place on Facebook. They want to do the things, maybe those hidden gems. What would you suggest to them, the must-dos when you visit Scott County?
There's so many that you have to have on your must-do list. First of all, you need to go to Old Friends and meet Silver Charm, the oldest living Kentucky Derby winner. It's a true treat to go out and meet him. And then, of course, that small town, downtown Georgetown, is always on somebody's to-do list here in Georgetown. So to shop, dine, and experience what that small town charm is really like here in Scott County. And then there's so many others. We've got a great outdoor adventure scene. So we've got hiking and mountain biking trails at Lytle's Fork Recreation Center. There's great fishing and kayaking with Elkhorn Creek. There's horseback riding with Whispering Woods. I mean, it's truly endless, the adventures you can have here in Scott County.
We're small but mighty.
Yeah. Small but mighty. I like that.
We always like to say we may be a small town, but we are mighty in the attractions and the things that we have to offer.
Yeah, definitely. Lori, Scott County has such a rich history. Where is Scott County going? What projects are coming up? What excitement is coming to the area?
We've really got a lot of new things. You know, one of the things I'm most excited about is the Best of the Bluegrass Festival, which was formerly known as the Festival of the Horse. As a matter of fact, our stage is sponsored by none other than Country Boy Brewing, where we're here today. And this year we are going to really lean into the music scene. We have so many fabulous artists that are in our community, in our region, and our state. Along with, you know, the Legacy Trail is going to be making its way from the Kentucky Horse Park into downtown Georgetown, so we're super excited about that. We've got Limestone Farm Distillery that is under construction, so, you know, Birthplace of Bourbon is going to have a distillery here in Georgetown pretty soon, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, bourbon, music, horses. I mean, what else can you ask for,
check,
right?
check.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to sell someone to Scott County, if somebody watching right now, whether they've maybe just stopped in, they've driven by, but they've never really explored the county, how would you get them to come? What would be your pitch to them?
So if you love small town charm with a big personality, then Scott County's definitely got you covered. We've literally got all things Kentucky.
You can ride a horse, you can meet a racing star. There's just so much that this community has to offer, and we invite everybody to come and check us out. All I can say is come visit, because a smile awaits them here.
You're selling me.
I know.
I'm ready to...
I just want to hang out with you guys.
Well, we can probably make that
Yeah,
happen.
we're at our brewery.
Just
Just get us some beers.
Yeah. Where's the brew?
Yeah, come on.
Love it. Lori Saunders, Bailey Gilkerson with Georgetown Scott County Tourism. Thank you so much for your time and joining us on our Spotlight of Scott County.
Thank you for showcasing our town.
Well, welcome to the Ward Hall Mansion. We are actually standing inside the grand reception hall with the man, the myth, the legend. We have Ron Bryant here. He is the executive director. Thank you so much for having us in here. This is incredible.
Thank you for coming. We're so happy you're here.
This place is an absolute gem of Scott County. So Ron, tell us the nuts and bolts of this place. Where are we standing? What is this place?
As she said, you're standing in the grand reception hall, and Ward Hall was the summer home of Junius Richard Ward, a native of Scott County who moved to Mississippi in the 1820s, became a successful cotton plantation owner, and he and his wife, Matilda Viley Ward, decided they wanted a little summer cottage back in Kentucky, so they built the largest Greek Revival mansion in the state. And the house was built between 1853 and 1857 and cost $50,000 in gold, which in today's money is over $8 million. And they only came here the last week in May and stayed till the last week in September, when they would go back to their big house in Mississippi.
Well, I think people want to see a tour, so where do we start?
Oh, well, we could start anywhere. Would you like to see the dining room
Let's
first?
go to the dining room.
Very good.
Okay. Now this is how you have dinner.
Yes, it is.
This is how it's done.
The Wards were very keen on style, and this is not set for a special occasion.
This is just any normal.
This is how they would have their meals. Their meals could last sometimes up to 12 courses, and it'd be all the finest foods that money could buy or could be raised here. The wines on the table would be all imported from France. And this is the main drawing room, and that is a portrait of Junius Ward, the man who had this house built, and that is his wife, Matilda Viley Ward, and his brother, Robert Ward, and Robert was even richer than Junius was, and he at one time was the richest man in Kentucky.
And there's so much to see here. People really need to come and see it for
well,
themselves.
you have to come see the place. In fact, people who have been here dozens of times, they come back and say they see something new every time that they're here.
Something else really impressive is that staircase.
The staircase, yes, by all means, let us see the staircase.
It may take us a little bit to get up there, but
It is actually, its twin is in Vicksburg, Mississippi, but that's the only two in the United States that we know of that are of this exact design.
And what is it about this design that makes it so unique?
The double elliptical. There's a lot of elliptical staircases, circular staircases, things of that nature, but this is a double elliptical.
was this like one of the children's rooms?
No, this is just a bed chamber.
Okay, just a bed chamber.
And the room is very interesting. It has an 1840s full teaster bed with curtains on it and a beautiful green velvet coverlet from the 1850s, which has not faded at all through all the years because that green was set with arsenic. And that's something that was, it does set green very well.
So you don't want to cuddle up with that at night?
No, not really.
Out on that.
No. And of course, the Wards, who were multi-millionaires in their monies, they had no running water in this house. So they had no bath facilities, and their bathroom facilities is right there on the floor. Now this room is actually away from all the other bedrooms, and there's a reason for this. This was originally called the vagrant or traveler's room. In the old days in the South, big mansions would have a room set aside not for guests, but for actual travelers. But they got a free room, free food, their horses were taken care of, you got breakfast the next morning, and something even to take with you for your noonday meal for nothing. One of the things though, when they did go to bed, the door would be bolted and locked from the outside, and they would not be let out again until the next morning. So, and this room is very comfortable, and it's very, very, very nice. And it also is a room that, of course, is very special to us here because this is supposed to be a very haunted room in Ward Hall. Colonel Milton Hamilton, who owned Ward Hall from the mid-1880s until February of 1903, was in this room on a February night in 1903. He was 83 years old, and he was reading his weather almanac. And he decided to go to that window over there and open it to see if the weather was doing what his almanac said. And somehow or the other, he lost his balance or was pushed. We don't know. I mean, we really don't know. He fell out the window to his death, 30 feet down onto a stone walkway. They didn't find him till the next morning. And Colonel Hamilton is supposed to haunt Ward Hall. And he's a very nice ghost, though. He doesn't really hurt anybody. Yeah, that's very good.
So there is someone still living here today.
Oh, well, you might say that.
You never know when he's going
And
to
to
pop
this
up.
day, we always put a new almanac on the desk by that window so he won't be bored reading the 1903 one over and over.
Now that's some Southern hospitality right there, really.
Now the whole mansion is my favorite, but this part in particular, wow, is really neat.
This
Lot of
is,
history. Yeah.
most architectural historians are very impressed with this area. The house is beautiful and it is very grand, but this is one of the most intact servants' quarters in the country. At the dining room for the house servants, you had the laundry and workroom, you had the wine cellar, the overseer's office, all of these things, pantries of that nature, the buttery even. it was all the work that was going on that made the rest of the house go. And Junius Ward probably hardly ever came down here. Mrs. Ward would come down here every day that she was here, but she would instruct the staff on what to do for that day. All say they gravitate toward this section of the house because it is so unique that it's preserved.
Ron, how important is it for you to share this history with visitors?
Oh, it is. That's one of the passions about Ward Hall. This house is literally caught in time. It was preserved enough that it hadn't changed. So many of the great plantation houses throughout the country, or a lot of the great mansions, have been so renovated over and over that they've lost a lot of their original appeal. But this one was the closest one that never was really changed that much. And that's why it's so important to show and to share, and to also give a history of the families that lived here. And so we want that to be something for future generations to come and see this place and enjoy it like we do.
Yeah. Ron, I know we're here to work, and I think we spent probably an hour and a half with you. You gave us our own private tour before we even started this interview. So we first of all just want to thank you for your time and giving us a tour, and I would encourage anybody to come out here and check this out, not only because of its beauty, but the history and all that you can learn and that's associated with it.
No, thank you very much, and you always will be our welcome guest at any time.
We got to come back.
We're coming back because you said there's something new each time they show up.
Yes, always come back.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So many exciting things happening in Scott County, a great place to explore with the family, friends, and also new things popping up every day.
We have loved our time here in Scott County. Thank you so much for joining us for this spotlight. BBN Tonight is up next, and we'll see you at 11.